Ride farther and longer. Welcome back to another episode of the Basalong Cycling Podcast. I'm your host Sherry. Before we jump into the episode, make sure to subscribe to the channel so we reach the 50,000 subscribers and you have a chance to win one of these Basalong I Ride for Candies t-shirts. I will make a ballot between the subscribers, so make sure to hit the button and also the notifications so you don't miss the upcoming episodes and epic adventures. Do you want to go on your first long distance ride or even a bikepacking trip or an ultra race but don't know where to start, what gear to take, which bike to use? To help me answer all these questions is joining me today Raphael from Orbit360. He's an experienced bikepacker, event organizer and ultra cyclist. But before we jump into the episode, make sure to check the description to find all the information and also exclusive discounts in brands like Insta360, Redshift, Albion and Rose Bikes.
Hello, thanks for the invitation. Hey.
So excited to have you in the show. I mean, I've been following your journey, like you started with bikepacking and now you organize your own events, really cool ones, mostly I think in Germany, Austria, and I think now in Italy. But can you tell us a bit more about your bikepacking journey? How did you start it?
I'm Raphael. I started back in 2018, I think. I didn't even have a bike. I've never been a proper cyclist, but I wanted to do some adventures, like more travel adventures, more traveling side than cycling. But then I asked a friend if I can borrow a bike, and I took my little brother, who was 10 at this time, and then we crossed the Alps, slept in the little mountain huts, and yeah, this is how everything started. And I did a bikepacking trip the next year through Georgia, Armenia, and Iran, and I found a big race that we all know, Silk Road Mountain Race, on Instagram during this trip, and I registered straight away, and that's how I came into the ultra distance racing community. I did this for a couple of years, and then before I got a bit tired of all the sleepless, like being tired of the sleepless nights in a double sense. And then I started to organize my own events, which are a good mixture between it has everything of the ultra distance events, but more community focused now.
And what drove you to start Orbit360? I mean, I went to Berlin and I asked people about routes there, and they refer me all to Orbit360, like these long distance cycling routes that you can take if you want by yourself, but you also do things like are more community driven, like the Gravity Festival, and also some bikepacking events like sneak peeks. Can you tell us more about the concept and why it's more like a maybe bikepacking event communities rather than the hardcore ultra racing? What drove you to this approach?
Yeah, I think it was more on the hardcore ultra racing side back in 2020 when everything started. We started Orbit360 with the Gravel series. So in 2020, I remember I just finished Atlas Mountain Race with a couple of friends, and then we were all hanging out in Morocco. And just before we flew back to Germany, COVID came up. So all of the races, they had to be cancelled in this year. I applied for all of the big ones and I got accepted already. So I was quite sad that I just joined the ultra distance community and then there were no races anymore. And it was like a bubble that was just gone. And then I asked some friends if they want to help doing a new innovative event series, and there was the Gravel series. So I asked the friends that I met during the events if they want to scout how we call it Orbit, a route. And in the end, we came up with 16 routes in 16 different states in Germany, so one each. And then participants, riders, they could just go on their own on these routes during the summer, tag us in Komoot, and then we did a ranking. So that was the whole idea, and it worked quite well. And yeah, from this on, I've always dreamed to do an ultra distance event. So that is sneak peeks now. I always dreamed to bring people together more on the party side and community side and on the racing side. So this is Gravity Festival. We did Ride for a Reason over the past year, another event. We raised donations for cycling projects or climate initiatives. So far we raised more than 65,000 euro in donations with these events. And yeah, now Orbit360 is more like an event agency stuff. They're doing events, and but it all started with the Gravel series.
Ah, that's really nice. I think the Orbit 360 routes, some of them, you can just like go on your Komoot collection and find them, or how can people also access the ranking? It's quite cool to be able to do that, especially if you are starting into bikepacking or adventures, to have a bit more of a challenge, but without the pressure of commitment of an event itself.
Yeah. So if they want to be included in the ranking, they just tag us on Komoot, and everything else is on our site. They can check the ranking on the website. It's the routes are between 150 and 200 kilometers. It used to be 300, but we made it a bit more accessible for everyone. And that's it. Actually, participation is free. As I said, if they want to leave the donations, we're happy to take the donations and forward it to Generation Forest to do reforestation projects in Panama. And the routes, they can be found on our website. And there is also like a big Komoot collections. There are 123 orbits so far. So
wow.
They're full of nice local scouted routes. And now it's like we have people who want to join the ranking and who are riding fast, so they always take us. But also, if you go to a new region, like plan a weekend trip, you can always check the All Orbits collection, and then you will most likely found an orbit that is scouted by a local person, and then you can just enjoy and go for a nice ride over the weekend.
That's really cool. I think that's one of the biggest barriers when I started into bikepacking and wanted to do my trips by myself. I wanted to go on a nice route, but I didn't know where to find routes. And at the end, I ended up getting lost. And sometimes, it was a bit chaotic. So I always wanted, like, okay, if I go to an area, to be able to see it from the local side, let's say these hidden gems that only local cyclists know. And you have a lot of experience in bikepacking and ultra racing. Do you have any tips for beginners looking to start doing their first long distance rides? I mean, I find, for example, one of the biggest thing I learned is like about fueling during these rides. I always like under fuel at the beginning, and then I was like, okay, maybe if I keep eating something like every hour, it makes a huge difference at the end. Do you have some tips for people that want to start into long distance cycling that maybe you didn't know about when you started yourself?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I would like consider myself quite experienced now after 6-7 years, and I did many events, and like all of my life is on a bike, more or less. So everything that I do is on a bike. Or the bigger, longer trips that I did in the last years, like the vacations, sometimes 3-4 months, I always did it on the bike. So I think, eat as much as you can. Don't like try to save energy or try to store food. Always eat it when you're hungry, but then also just do it and listen to your body. I think some people that I met during the Gravity Festival, because of course there are people that are less experienced in bikepacking, or not in bikepacking but in races, and I realized they're not prepared enough on the one side. So that's just some of the people that just go to events, and they could prepare more, because they don't read rider handbooks or something. So if there is some information,
Yeah.
take it and use it. And I think right now you just have to open YouTube or Google, and there are reports, race reports, videos from all of the events. When I started, I had one pack list from the Silk Road Mountain Race. There was one participant from the first year. She had a pack list, and I really knew what she was taking because it was my first event, and I wanted to be on the safe side. So I really checked the list that she put online. Now there is information about everything. You just need to find it. So yeah, the one tip would be just do it and then listen to your body. And if you've got some pain, if there's some knee pain coming up, don't push it too much in the first place. I mean, keep going longer and longer. But then if you have pain, stop and then listen to your body, take a break, and then try it another time, and then maybe only go 50 kilometers longer and not 300 kilometers longer the next time. So always step by step. And I think for equipment and stuff, everyone needs to find his or her own way. Like there's so much stuff that you don't need if you just want to go for an adventure. There's of course more stuff that it's more expensive that you don't need, but that would help you if you go for a race. I think it's also a financial problem. Like it's quite expensive. So start easy, and then when you realize you've done a race or you've done a longer trip and you realize there was something missing, then maybe invest some money in this one item, but don't buy everything in the beginning, because I think most people they can't buy everything in the beginning because it adds up. And if you need a proper tent, sleeping stuff, like all of the equipment, it's thousands of euros. Like we all know it. It's quite expensive.
Yeah, I think so. Sometimes, like you see all these videos, it seems like you need to have so much equipment. But I think normally most of the things I got is I learned from experience, and I bought them step by step and upgrade it. And then it's better because you don't buy things that you don't end up using. Like this, you know you end up buying what you actually need because you missed it in a trip. So it's like, okay, you know, you will need it for sure. And I think some people think like you need a very expensive bike, very expensive equipment, like very lightweight to do these kind of events. But no, I actually like you can just get started, and little by little you can get the setup that you want. And talking about setups, what's the most common bikes you see in your events? Most of them are off-road, and I know a bit technical at parts. Do you see more people going for gravel bikes, mountain bikes, drop bar mountain bikes? What do you think is maybe like the ultimate bikepacking bike, let's say?
It's changing right now since I've introduced sneak peeks. It always used to be gravel, maybe like gravel on the adventure side, not on the racing side. So Orbit has always been a bit rougher than people would normally start riding gravel with. But for sneak peeks, many people show up with a mountain bike, like with a proper suspension mountain bike, not full suspension, but in the front. And then some that do it on a gravel bike as well. I scouted everything on a gravel bike. I'm always feeling more comfortable on a gravel bike. I tried one event on a mountain bike and I scratched, not because of the mountain bike, just because it wasn't like, I didn't feel very, very good. But I'm feeling like on a monster gravel bike, wide tires, 50 millimeters. That's what I personally like. Slow gearing, slow ratio.
I think so. That's important, the gear ratio. I mean, I switched my setup in the gravel bike to a mallet because I no matter the race off-road, there's normally these really steep climbs, and the thing in like in road you can push it, but off-road it's so steep that you
Yeah,
need to like have a lot of power to get over it, or really being able to spin it out. So their gear ratio really makes a difference. And yeah, in all the events, like I did, I remember Badlands, I did the recon with a normal like gravel bike gear ratio, and then I was like, I had to walk most of the climbs. Then I switched to the mallet, and I was like, whoa,
yeah,
that's like a game changer, like day and night, just to have an easy gear ratio. And like this, you don't blow up your knees. I think that a lot of people, especially in ultra races, they get excited at the beginning. They see everybody going fast, and they start like going full gas on the climbs instead of taking it easy. And at the end of
yeah,
the day, you see a lot of people that, for example, scratch with knee pain. And then it's like, why did I get knee pain? Well, maybe
yeah,
you should take it a bit more easy, and having a good gear ratio, especially for off-road event, really makes a difference.
yeah. And I realized that people, that they think, if they take the very low ratio, then they miss some, like, how do you say it? Some ratio in the flat parts. But like
Yeah.
most of the times there are not many flat parts, and if you're riding for 3 or 4 days already, even on those flat parts, you won't have a lot of extra energy left. So it's totally fine. Like for sneak peeks, you go up and down, and you don't need the high ratio, that the high gearing, because it's like, if you roll down, you don't need to push, you just let it roll. And on the uphill, you're gonna be happy if you have some very low gearing.
And can you tell us a bit more about this event as sneak peeks? I mean, I met you in a photo shoot at Rose in the north of Italy, and you told me you were going there to scout part of the routes. Can you tell us a bit more about the event, like highlights? How did you come up with this concept or route?
Yeah, so I always wanted to do an ultra endurance event, since, like, I don't know, 5 years. But then my summers, they were always quite packed with other events, so it was difficult to find a lot of time or enough time to scout for new routes. And then I did the first scouting trip 3 years ago, I think, and I chose the Dolomites because I wanted to do an event where planes are not needed for arrival. So I wanted to stay in Europe. And then I thought Bolzano is a very nice place to start with. You can easily access it by train. The Dolomites are just next door, and there weren't not many events in the Dolomites. And it's just a crazy, crazy, crazy nature. It's a crazy
Yeah.
area. It's a very demanding and challenging area. Every climb is so steep. It like we're talking about 25 to 30% gradient. It's crazy sometimes. So it's very
Yeah.
tough, but it's beautiful. And if you take the off-road routes, there are not many easy off-road routes, but if you find them, it's crazy, the places where you can get. Then also I wanted to include refugios. That's the mountain huts, always located on the very top of the mountain. And I thought, if I include them, I can also work with the local people and make the event more accessible as well, because people, they can always find food and shelter and water and drinks. So it's a good mixture of a very, very demanding route, the longest distance. There are 3 distances: adventure, classic, and entry. And the longest is about 40,000 meters of climbing. And so I wanted to have it like a very demanding route, but also on the other side, big focus on community, big encouragement, and riders ride together, that they can chill and relax at the refugios. And it's a like very warm-hearted side from the people, but a very tough route.
Yeah, I think that's quite cool. I think that's maybe different than the traditional ultra races where you cannot really interact with other riders because then you get disqualified. And I always
Yes.
miss this community. I think it takes away from the event itself because you want to ride with other riders, share experiences. Doesn't mean that you are necessarily drafting or anything else. It's just
Yeah.
like, being able to share the experience. I think that adds so much to the adventure. Also, the people you meet along the way, and then at the end of the journey, if you manage to complete it, it's such a sense of achievement, like collective achievement, I will say, instead of like just like chasing win or positions. I think I always remember, for example, when I met people or the places I go, rather that if I end up third or first or second, I don't know. I think that's a really cool concept. So, for example, you could go with your friends and ride with your friends in an event like this.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. If you come with a group of people, you can ride all together. Also, we've got a party pace petrol, where like this is our attempt to make it more accessible for riders who are afraid to ride alone, maybe also sleep alone. So I know that there are many, many people out there who want to do these events, but it's still like that moment to register for an event. There is still a big barrier, and they think, it's can I do it? It's too long. I'm afraid to sleep outside alone, and being alone with all the problems and challenges that you have in those events. So I was trying to make it a bit more accessible, and then have people as a rider, as a party pace patrol that finished many, many events already, that are very experienced and that are just there to help if it's needed. And if it's not needed, it's fine for everyone else. But if there are people who need some help and who want to ride with other people and want to share some time, that we have the options to offer this.
Ah, that's really cool. Well, for the listeners, if you want to join us, I will be in the party patrol of the classic. So make sure if you want to do like something more community driven, it will be fun to meet you. Also, I will bring
Yeah.
plenty of candies. Maybe I share some, maybe not.
And yeah, maybe that's another important thing. They don't have to stick to the party pace, but it's always just an offer from our side. We upload a collection on Komoot before, and we split the full distance in daily stages. So you always
Ah,
know
cool.
the beginning and the end of each day. And the end of a day is, of course, a place where you can sleep very nicely. There is a shelter. So I'm always looking for the places that have a good shelter, maybe a toilet, maybe some water resupply. Sometimes it's refugio. So, when it's 6 in the evening and you don't have that much energy left, and there's maybe one pass coming, and you're wondering, should you do it? Should you go for it? Or should you rather take it easy and sleep? So I'm doing the planning ahead, and people always know if they go until the end of this route on this day, there is definitely some shelter and a nice place to sleep. And maybe not only the place, but also some people who stay there as well, get a good rest and some good sleep, and then continue on the next day. Maybe together, maybe alone, maybe they find themselves during the day. But yeah, there's always someone around.
Ah, that's really nice. I think that's one of the maybe roadblocks for a lot of people, the mental roadblocks, wondering like where you're gonna sleep at night. Do
Yeah.
I have to do a sleep deprivation to be able to do this like long distance bikepacking event or races? And in my experience, the more I do, the more I sleep. So I realize the importance of sleep, and also, you are also there to challenge yourself, yes, but to enjoy. And actually, after the events, when I sleep more, I go faster during the event, and then my recovery is much better. So, like a lot of people underestimate the consequences after of sleep deprivation. So if you have the chance, you're gonna arrive to a place where you can sleep. Especially as you said, if you are doing the event alone, and there's gonna be more people for the event, and it makes it more I think feels safer for me.
Yeah.
Especially, I'm also like when I started into bikepacking or ultra distance, my biggest concern, and still to this day, is like sleeping outside or being alone at night. So that's
Yeah.
a really good thing, and also it adds the community element that you meet people in these refuges. I think it's a cool experience. Actually, one of the best experience I had in ultra races, for example, in Transiberica, was staying in these mountain huts in the Pyrenees, because there were nobody, there were no tourists, there were amazing local food, the views were
Yeah.
spectacular, and it was so quiet. So I had the best sleep ever, better than
Yes.
in like luxury hotels. I was like, these refuges were like great food, great views, and complete silence. So also say is this experience of like being in nature. So it's something quite cool that, for example, I wouldn't have gone there, and you can not find a lot of these places on Booking or on Google Maps. So
They
I
are
think
not
that's
on Booking.
a
Yeah.
unique experience. Yeah.
Yeah. It's for sneak peeks. It's the refuges. They can be different because the closer you stay to Bolzano and to the touristic areas, that's the refugios that are sometimes feel like a hotel,
Mhm.
they're quite big. But then if you go far away, and then we've got some refugios in the event that are very small, that are hosted by 2 people, and it's super nice. Like they have an oven, then you sit in the evening at an oven, they make some very nice pasta, and it's just like very small
Mm.
and chilled. Yeah.
Oh yeah, food in Italy is amazing. I think
Yeah.
I didn't have a bad food in Italy. And would you say there's like a hidden gem in the route that not many people know about, like a special place?
So last year we had the highest point of the route was at 3,127 meters. So it gets quite challenging, and there's no riding possible in the Alps on 3,127 meters. There are many hidden gems. I received mails from some local riders, and if the local riders, if they appreciate the route, then that's it. Like
Yeah.
there's no appreciation, no more appreciation in this. And they sent me emails and like, hey, this is a crazy route. We know the area, but there are some paths and then some places that I found that are not included in any other event. Sometimes not even hikers go there. So it's quite tough. There's some hiker bike included, but it brings you to some very nice places. We did one hidden section of the Stelvio last year, which was a very nice area. We are going back to the Stelvio area next year. I didn't plan it, but it was so nice. And we're not doing Stelvio because we did it once. So we did the famous 48 switchbacks on the downhill, but only
Hmm.
classic and entry and adventure. They did the switchbacks, but then they turned right, and then this section came with the highest point of the route at 2,127 meters. Yeah, so we're going through the Dolomites first, and then follow along the border to Austria, and then go to the Stelvio National Park. And it's quite different. Like going to the Dolomites first, and then going to the area in Switzerland. It's quite different actually, and it's nice, yeah, to include 2 big areas.
Oh, that's really cool. And talking about places, I mean, seems that you do a lot of bikepacking and exploring. What are the most beautiful places you've been? Like, can you give us a top 5 bikepacking destinations?
Okay, this is first one, definitely Dolomites. I'm always so happy. I've been spending weeks and months in the Dolomites for 3 years now, and always when I come back and I see those mountains, and you have the feeling how small you are as a person, and
Yeah.
how small things in the world feels like when you're back in those big mountains. So the Dolomites, it's always number 1 for me, I guess. Then like the country where everything started for me, Iran. It was a crazy experience. I don't know if I would go back right now, probably not. But when I was there 2018, it was super nice. Last year I spent 2 months in Japan. Japan was a crazy country. The culture, the people. I think it's the best country for bikepacking because everything is so clean. You can sleep everywhere. You find showers and toilets, heated toilet seats.
The toilets are great.
In the middle of the forest, the nature is nice. But for me, it was the people who made the difference. How respectful they are. So Japan is definitely a very nice place to go on a bike. Kyrgyzstan, of course. Kyrgyzstan. And we maybe one local region would be Schlaubetal, where the Gravity Festival takes place. Not many people know it, and even people from Berlin who are not living far away from this place, like most of them, they don't know it as well. But this is a very nice place, actually. More on the local side.
What makes it special? I never heard.
Yeah,
a lot of trails or like nature.
Trails. Also, it's for hiking. It's quite nice, but also for gravel cycling. And I think it's just beautiful German forest. It's not that. Then of course it's northern Germany. They're not big mountain passes, but if you want to stay local and if you want to explore some areas, and then of course, like I was living in Berlin for 13 years, and I didn't know this area before the Gravity Festival. So this is a very nice place, very chilled, relaxed people as well. A lot of windmills.
Really cool. Yeah, I think in Berlin, I was surprised when I went there how good the gravel riding is. It's like, you can be out of such a big city. I thought it would take me like ages to get out. And in like 10, 15 minutes, I was in the forest and there was nobody. Like, I didn't see anybody for 200K. It's so nice because you have all the noise in the city and then you can just go to the forest and ride gravel, perfect gravel, like what they say, champagne gravel for hours on end. So that was a super cool experience. I think, sometimes we don't need to go too far to find like hidden gems and have an adventure. It could be like near you, and it's such a great way to explore. In a way that there's so many places I've never heard about, and I just discovered by accident with the bike. Yeah, that's really cool. Well, so I will leave all the information to Orbit360 and also sneak peeks. So if anybody wants to join us, when is sneak peeks?
On August 26th, 28th, and 30th. So there are 3 distances, and the adventure riders, 1,100 kilometer, they start the first on 26th, and then 2 days later is classic, and then 2 days later again is entree. So they all meet on their way back to the finish line. That's the idea.
That's really cool.
Yeah, the last 2 years they started more or less all together. Adventure 1 day before classic and entree, but then they were quite alone in the end of the event. And now I switched the starting times, and I think it's very nice because they follow all the same route with adventure and classic, some extra sections. And then they will see the people on their way back to the finish line, which is quite nice actually. And they will meet new people that they haven't seen before because they started 4 days after them for adventure riders.
That's a really good concept.
Yeah.
Also like makes it more accessible with different distances. So you have like a more easy one and then maybe more challenging one. So that's really nice. So I will leave all the information below for the listeners. And thank you so much for joining us today, Raphael.
Yeah, thanks for the chat. It was nice speaking to you.
Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to rate the show if you are listening on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and to subscribe to the YouTube channel so we reach the 50,000 subscribers and you have the chance to win one of these Bus Alone I Ride for Candies t-shirts. It really helps to support the channel, and hit the bell button so you don't miss the upcoming episodes and adventures. Remember, you can find all the information we talk about in the description, and also exclusive discounts in brands like Insta360, Redshift, Albion and Rose Bikes. Until the next adventure.